You know, a lot of points struggle with transitioning into a Watcher's role full-time. And there's never been a point more passionate than Aurea.
I know. I hope this eases her pain.
I'm sure it will. Now, what can I do to help?
We'll definitely highlight Ori's accomplishments, but I'm wondering if you've got any lighter stories to share.
Oh, there was this one time I had to borrow a pair of her trousers after an experiment went awry. Well, borrowed without asking first.
So you stole her trousers? And they fit you?
It was wash day, and I was trying to accelerate the drying process with a little magical heat. When all my clothes went up in flames, no one else in the camp would let me touch theirs. So I borrowed a pair from Aurea while she was out on an expedition, hoping to find a solution before she returned. Alas, I did not. When she came back, she simply cocked a brow and said they looked better on me than her. I still have those trousers. They're comfortable, so I wear them on wash day for a laugh. And if I have to belt them above my ribs, so be it.
Thanks for sharing, Dan.
I haven't known Aurea for as long as the others, but she's done a lot for me. I'd like to help with your project if I can.
Of course, Sev.
What do you want to know?
You said Aurea has done a lot for you. Tell me more about that.
After everything that's happened, everything I've done, she's just accepted me as part of the band. Until now, my position in life has always felt precarious. To just be accepted, no questions asked by someone like her. It means everything. She's given me a home. All of you have.
You'll always have one with us.
For the first time in my life, I actually believe that.
Thanks, Sev.
Glad to be of service.
Brynn, I love what you're doing for Aurea. How can I help?
You've been in the Weaver Band the longest. How do you think Aurea has changed throughout her career?
To be a point for as long as Aurea has is extremely rare. The knowledge she's acquired at a time when Weavers have lost so much is invaluable. She's always been passionate about recovering what was lost since the Surge. Though, I think feeling alone in that ambition has taken a toll on her over the years.
In what way?
Not all Weavers are in this for our collective culture the way Aurea is. Many of them only seek personal glory. When Casman didn't work out as her replacement point, she became worried she might never find someone that shared her vision for this band. It meant a lot when she finally found you.
Wow. Thank you, Sola.
Happy to help.
Your idea to commemorate Aurea's career with Lane is lovely. How can I help?
If you were to summarize Aurea's influence on your life, what would that be?
Aurea saved me from serious burnout with the Udean relief efforts. Not to mention, saving me from myself a second time here in the Enclave. I don't know if I'd still be here without her. Or any of you, for that matter. Anyway, the longer I worked the relief ships, the worse the fatigue hit me. And I think that had become my entire identity. Barely a few minutes into meeting me, Aurea asked if I ever thought of becoming a weaver. I thought she was mad. But I guess she had observed me giving orders and organizing shipments on the docks all morning. By the end of our conversation, I had a new purpose and a home in our band.
That's perfect. Thank you for sharing.
My pleasure.
My hand is cramped. But the account of Oria's career is finished.
Great. I'll gather everyone if you're ready to present it.
I'll need to ice my quill hand. But, of course.
Let's hope she likes this.
She will.
What's going on?
We wanted to present the latest addition to Lane's archive to you, together. We all contributed, though credit goes to Lane for compiling and writing it.
I've titled it A True and Personal Account of Oria Silverbeak Harpinet.
What is going on?
We wanted to do something special to commemorate your time as Point.
You didn't have to do all this.
We did. You've done more for each of us time and time again.
No one is more deserving of a place in Weaver history than you, Oria.
So we took it upon ourselves to write you one.
As a thank you for everything.
I don't know what to say.
Lane, why don't you read just the opening?
Oria Silverbeak, as she came to be known, was born to Sharian Harpinet and Eugenius Osphine inside the Enclave just before the Surge.
Osphine.
Though she never knew her father, her mother hoped Oria would follow in her footsteps as a skilled enchantress within the Maida. But Oria decided to become a Point, blazing her own trail. Something she would continue to do throughout her career, bigger and bolder each time. We'll let you read the rest on your own.
We hope this account will help you see yourself and your accomplishments the way we see you.
I'm at a loss. All I can say right now is thank you.
Just imagine it before the veil went up. Wouldn't have had to scavenge for alchemically treated coal, at any rate.
Can't, I'm pulling you. Brace for it.
One never quite forgets that smell.
Temple coal taking you back?
Unfortunately, yes. It conjures up images of stern keepers, hot stuffy vestibules, and ranted invective posing as sermons on the evils of magic. It was everywhere in Renland. The church has the nation in a stranglehold, and so I left, at considerable speed. I don't think I really stopped running at all until... well...
Until you met the love of your life.
yes. I thought so. I still hope so.
It's been a strain on you both.
I'm sure everyone has noticed.
Need an ear?
Maybe. It's clear she yearns to just stay here in the Enclave, even if we brought down the veil. But I find comfort in the road. It has few preachers and no community dedicated to strangling out individuality.
Worried if you stop moving that it will catch up with you.
I suppose I am still running, in a way.
Does she know that?
It's not something I want to burden her with.
She's strong. In a lot of ways. Something to think about.
Right. Yes, I shall.
It's significantly easier to do a repair than working up a new suit of armor from scratch. I'm going to go soft.
We could use some really intricate chandeliers to brighten up the place.
Casman would be happy. Though, I strongly suspect this entire thing is an elaborate ruse to get Dom and I talking.
It's not like her to run out of things, it's true. Is it working, do you think?
I don't know. The intentions are good, but I'm hurting.
I think you both are.
Yes, but I'm the one who's been following his dream of wandering the Maida for years. And the moment I say, hey, maybe we could do something else, he shuts down.
You're right. That doesn't seem fair.
It isn't.
He didn't have a great reaction to what you said, it's true. But at the same time, he was rather caught off guard.
Well, perhaps it was a little abrupt.
Maybe he deserves a chance to have a second reaction?
You're as bad as Casman. Speaking of, we should see her and present the fruits of our labors.
I had a chance to run a test, and I would say our stove is cooking better than ever. Keeps the heat well, burns clean, a job well done.
Dom's always been very good at treating that kind of coal. Must be the Wren in him.
Hardly. No, I simply find my inspiration in...
I think...
Sola, I have an idea.
Oh?
Tarmakind uses exceptionally precise temperatures to work the metal, yes? Sometimes exceptionally high?
I mean, yes, but...
I finished Xavier's journals. He was quite thorough and talked extensively about working with the Halopire priests.
Nothing quite helps me commune with the flames like someone slamming a hammer into metal.
You'd be surprised. But I imagine Dom means the shrine underground. I saw it mentioned too.
Precisely. And perhaps we could lean on our intrepid point to investigate.
Of course. I'd be happy to.
They must have kept records. Samples, perhaps.
I really appreciate this.
Brynn, I was so moved by what you did for Aurea. It's clear she means a lot to all of you.
Thank you. She does.
But her father, Eugenius Osphine, I know who he is.
You do?
Yes, and I want you to make an offering for his grave. I can give you a key swatch to reach it.
Wait, you know where it is?
I do. And I'm sure Aurea would love to watch you visit on the scry.
Okay, but shouldn't we tell her?
Trust me, this is something you should show her directly. Come back when you've got the offering and I'll give you the key swatch.
One of Aurea's feathers would be beautiful as part of the offering for her father's grave. An offering for Eugenius. Time to talk to Arik. I've made an offering for Eugenius's grave.
Great. Here's the key swatch to his farm. That's where he was buried. I'll join Aurea at the scry when you arrive.
Are you sure you don't want to be the one to place the offering? This was your idea, after all.
It will be more meaningful for her if it's you. Trust me.
All right. Thank you for this.
That tree still ripe with inspiration, Lane?
What is this place?
Osvine Pastures. Your father's farm. I thought you'd want to see it for yourself.
My father lived here.
More than lived. He gave his blood, sweat, and tears for the Enclave here. Eugenius Osvine may not have a statue in Denevron for excellence in weaving or kissing the eye's arse, but he kept the surviving weavers afloat during the aftermath of the surge.
I had no idea.
After the surge, he only kept enough produce to take care of himself and his workers. The rest went to weavers across the Enclave, and his generosity led to many helping him in return.
I can't believe he did so much for the Enclave.
He was a true leader, if not in the most traditional way. A community of workers formed around him, including ex-points, who would transport his food across the Enclave in these caravans. Many of whom went on to form the Scouts as an organization that still exists within Cassidy's Hold today.
So that's how you know all this.
Before the arcs began malfunctioning, they were integral to farming across the Enclave. Many farmers refused to stop using them because of their efficiency, even at the risk of their farmhands being attacked. But your father scrapped his arcs as soon as he got wind of the first malfunction to keep his workers safe.
That can't have been an easy decision.
But he made it, anyway.
Everyone thought he was mad at the time, but in a few months, when the attacks became widespread, his forethought was recognized. After the surge, aftershocks destroyed many farms, including this one. Tangles spread across the land, crops began to die. While other farmers abandoned their livelihood, Eugenius never did. He had to rebuild many times, but he weathered every storm.
Wow. My mother told me he was driven.
Of all his workers, Eugenius was said to be the first one in the field each morning and the last to leave at night.
He sounds a lot like you, Aurea. This looks like a wooden carving of your mother, Aurea.
Please, bring it back for me.
Of course. This must be your father's grave, Aurea. I'll place an offering here. It certainly won't be lonely. Are all these offerings for Eugenius, Eric? Some of the flowers are fresh.
The scouts continue to take care of his grave to this day, to honor all the sacrifices he made for the Enclave.
He must have been an incredible man.
This is so much more than I ever could have expected. Thank you for showing me, Eric. Truly. And Brynn, when you come back to camp, there's something I need to do. Can't stretch the scry any further. All right, everyone. It's no secret that my role in our band is changing. What each of you has done to help me find peace in that is more than anyone deserves. And the time has come for me to say that serving each of you as point has been just... Being your point has been the privilege of my life. I've loved every minute of it. But in every ending, there's a new beginning. She's been doing the job since we got here, and the time has come for us to congratulate Brynn on formally becoming your point.
Well deserved.
She's been exceptional. We're in great hands.
Brynn, care to say a few words?
I wanted this role for so long that, truthfully, the band I got it for didn't matter to me. But you've all taught me that this role means nothing without good people to serve.
I couldn't ask for someone better to pass the torch to.
Thank you, Aurea. That means everything.
You earned it. And I should have done it a while ago. It was just hard to let go.
The spindle sacrificed everything for us. We could have lost Brynn just as quickly as we lost her.
We didn't, though.
I suppose if anywhere were going to be too full of magic, it would be this place.
A lot of the records were lost, but we know the real innovation happened down here.
And the Enclave's innovations took a lot of magic. Right.
Intriguing to think of weaver smiths and priests working side by side down here.
The preachers you grew up with would launch an hour-long diatribe at the very thought, yeah?
An hour would just be the introduction.
Detailed smithing logs with Xavier's name on them. Lots of sketched out designs, mostly in the margins.
Doodles always help me think too.
Is that bottled magma?
I've got one. I can't believe it's still warm. And you can feel the magic pulsing through it.
I wonder if proximity to the coral has affected it in some way.
Think that's all I'm going to find down here. Get your research hat ready, Lane. There's a lot.
I do not need a hat. This is really very clever.
You figured it out then?
Yes, Xavier's idea was to use an alchemical process similar to what Dharm and I just did to treat the coals. Elements left over from weaving flame strands distilled and used to treat magma.
Literal magma? The blood of the earth?
Enchanted magma. Measured precisely from one of Xavier's containers, he could delicately control temperature in a forge or foundry.
Sola will be over the moon. I'll let her know.
And I'll collate the more technical details. They'll be ready when she is.
Magma? Can you believe it?
Is it not lava?
I thought it was only lava if it bubbled up from underground. But now I'll have to ask Lane.
You heard the news then?
Oh, I'm sorry, Brynn. We ruined the surprise.
It's fine. Just nice to see you so happy.
We're confident that between the two of us, we can make Xavier's plan work.
And I'm keen to try it out. I was up sketching all night, and I have an idea for some armor to act as a test. If it works, we'll gather more. The veil has to open someday, and with this magma, we could be on the road for months.
Or maybe we'll stay. Either option provides you many potential students.
Or maybe, just maybe,
We could do both.
we'll make it work. After we get this bloody Enclave sorted out. Right, Brynn?
I have every faith we will.
This treatise on Tarzan governance is a complete slog.
Really? I find it delightful.
If only someone who'd read it multiple times could summarize.
You're not getting back in book club, Dharm.
It's nice to have the camp stove working properly again. Even if it took Casmin quietly tossing our coal supply into the hollow one night to make it happen.
Wait, she did?
Maybe I shouldn't have mentioned that. But Dharm and Sola have reconciled, which I suspect was her whole plan, so hopefully it's okay. Still, Kaz doesn't like for people to know she's a romantic at heart.
Oh, well, I am very glad you mentioned this. Thank you, Lane.
Just go easy on the teasing. I don't want her to serve my stew cold all week.
So, I was having a chat with Lane.
Oh?
Said something about you stashing coal outside the camp.
Oh, gods, they saw that?
Sure did.
Oh, I was so careful. Listen, Brynn, you know why I did it, right?
Because our enchanter and smith need to keep working together.
Yes, and they need to keep talking. They're so good together. So, I did what I had to. Just don't tell anyone, okay?
Kaz,
Yeah?
I think everyone knows. Except maybe Dom.
Gods, that's embarrassing.
You might want to sneak that coal back into the stocks at some point.
Already did. It was distracting to know the count was wrong.
You are hardly in any position to make lofty demands. The Council convened and unanimously stripped you of your role. You no longer hold the privileges of the Eye.
And how quickly did you convene that council? You hardly waited for my daughter's body to cool.
She is dead because of you. Because of your reckless behavior and deception, no less.
Hurl, how dare you? Every decision I've made, every action I've taken has been for her protection.
Abandoning her at the Grand Gate was for her protection. We all saw you on the scry. And that is Khan Arteme to you, Kenrick.
Is this a bad time?
Yes, as a matter of fact.
No. You're more than welcome at Cassidon's Hold. We wouldn't be here if it weren't for you.
I came to offer my condolences. To both of you.
Oh. Thank you.
Intellect can be taught, and creativity can be cultivated. But the kindness Isla embodied is rare. She helped our quartermaster through her darkest hour. I'll always be grateful for that.
She was exceptional. It's hard to imagine the Enclave will ever recover from this loss.
Then why are you so opposed to giving her the funeral she deserves?
With the Surgeborn swarming Denevron, we can't risk a trip to the Hallowpire Rise.
For generations, every Stanild has received the rite of ashes upon death. Isla will not be the exception to this.
Could I perform the rite on your behalf?
You? Don't tell me you're a Hallowpire priestess on top of being a righteous pain in my ass.
Skies, do you want a funeral or not? She's our best option.
Isla saved my life. I want to help you honor her death.
I suppose you do owe her that. Fine. For the rite of ashes, you need to burn an object that was sacred to the deceased upon the high pyre. As you collect the ashes, you must read a rite aloud to thank the flames for bringing the deceased to rest.
Do you have an object that was sacred to Isla?
Isla's most prized possessions aren't in Cassidon's Hold. She had a secret refuge in Dredger's Mire. You're sure to find something. She was always sneaking away at night to work there.
You knew she was sneaking out of Cassidon's Hold.
I knew my daughter better than she realized. Return to me with the ashes.
Thank you, Brynn.
You certainly wear emergency powers of authority comfortably, Hurl.
Lucia's room. Isla dedicated her life to restoring the arcs. Darm's right. We will need to continue the research. But what might she consider sacred for the a toy archon. That's... Darm, do you think this could work for the Rite of Ashes?
It's perfect.
Huh. Isla also had a copy of On the Workings of Archons, marked with annotations, just like Lucia's. Wait, I'm losing you.
Can you hear me better now?
Yeah. Weird. The scry was cutting out.
Strange. At any rate, the book could be useful. Once you've completed the ritual, I'll take a look.
A letter from... the accent. I should take it back to her.
And then the priest says, that's not how you extinguish the holy flame.
I thought you never extinguished the holy flame.
They make certain exceptions when it threatens centuries-old tapestries.
You never talked about your time in the church.
They're not happy memories.
No, but they're yours.
Then let's not fight again so I have more time to share them.
That's unreasonable. Let's just make sure we're talking.
Of course, my love. After all, I love you like... I love you.
I love you too.
The last conversation I had with the Spindle was about Era's plague. I went to Cassidon's Hold to visit her.
Really? Well, my understanding was that she didn't experience it herself.
No, but she understood being stigmatized by it. Even though Era's plague affects many races, most believe it only affects Kashar. I haven't known many others like me throughout my life. Not intimately, at least. It was nice to speak with someone who understood that part of me.
I'm glad you got that chance.
Agreed. We never know how much time we'll have with someone.
Too true.
So, I strongly suspect shenanigans, but also thank you.
About the stove?
Oh, absolutely. But shenanigans almost always come from a place of love.
Or lead to one.
Well said. And this forge is going to be invaluable, so we all benefit, including the future students I'm imagining up.
Any standouts in your illusory class?
There's a shy, red-headed lad named Carlos. He's going to go far. I just know it.
Brynn, I was just thinking about how we managed to trap the heat of molten rock itself.
And you and your wife seem through a complicated patch?
I never doubted we would find a way through. This time was different than the other spats we've had. I am very grateful for your help. I would not know what to do without Sola. She is very much my guiding star.
You're welcome, you big romantic. Just keep talking to her, and the nights will be cloudless.
Indeed. Indeed.
I'll need to place the toy on the high pyre. Sad to burn such a sweet toy. Now to collect the ashes. Though the flame abates and the ash grows cold, let she who worshipped you rest in eternal warmth.
Beautiful, Brynn.
I'm sure either is.
There it is again. The scribe is cutting in and out. Dom? Aurea?
We're... Can you hear me now?
You're back.
While you bring the ashes to Cassidon's hold, I'll analyze the scry.
Something strange is afoot.
Hey, I can't imagine how you must be feeling.
I am broken. Everyone wants a piece of me. Regardless.
Because you're in charge.
For now. Someone had to be. I don't know how I'm supposed to carry on like this. Without her, my support is gone. My foundations crumbled to dust. She wouldn't want me to cry. So I won't.
You can if you need to. I know our Weaver Band is still fairly new here, but you've got our support. All of us.
The funeral will honor her memory. Even if it's not what he wants. She would understand that it's enough. One day at a time, Brynn. That's all we can promise to ourselves.
I performed the rite, and I brought you the ashes.
Thank you, Brynn. Isla admired you. She would be honored that you did this for her.
It's not how she would have wanted things. I should have been there.
Enough! I know you're grieving. We all are. But you are no longer the Eye. And this disrespectful conduct ends now. You owe Brynn a thank you. And an apology for that matter. And probably a great deal more than that. Not only has she gone out of her way to perform the rite for your daughter, but she saved us all from certain death at the Grand Gate too. None of which she would ever have had to do if it weren't for your...
For my actions! I know! I know! It's all my fault. I should have been there. Not at the temple. At the Grand Gate. I should have stayed. The way she looked at me when I left her there. Never forget it. I could fill a city with my mistakes. I should have supported her work. I should never have lied to her. My regrets will drown me.
Maybe they should.
Maybe they should.
My mother used to say, you can drown in your grief. Or learn to swim in it. It is unfair that you lost a child. No matter the circumstances. I am so sorry that happened to you. But now you have a choice. You can spend the rest of your days counting the ways you failed your daughter. Or you can dedicate every breath you have left to her.
How?
Just do one small thing a day that would make her proud to call you her father. Start by helping us finish the work you wish you had supported in her life.
It's too late for that, I'm afraid. If you'll excuse me. But there is one thing. The Ark in your camp, the one she wanted to restore. It's called the Ark of Verdance. An enchantress named Lucia de Crassus built it.
Lucia.
Consider it a thank you for what you've done.
I need you to know, nobody else has been checking in on me like you have. I feel as if I'm alone in the stifling dark. But you are a bright light. Even though everything is very hard, I need you to know that I see what you're doing. Thank you.
Of course. It's just the right thing to do.
You laying Isla to rest is what she would have wanted, despite what her father said. You inspired her to be better, braver. It respects her memory to the fullest.
It was the least I could do.
Don't diminish your contributions.
You've got our support, whatever form that takes.
For what it's worth, I appreciate that.
By the way, I found something that you might want to see. It's a letter I found in the Spindle's hideout. It looked like your handwriting. I didn't read it.
I don't understand why you've been so kind to us, Brynn.
It's okay. I'll let you get back to it, all right?
Likewise. You deserved better from him, but that was probably all he's capable of. Come to think of it, we all deserved better from him.
What will you do now?
Take care of my people. Someone needs to. And you? You're going to try to fix the arcs.
Isla saw something in the arcs no one else did. The Enclave's legacy, innovation and ambition. We can't let her death be in vain. Her work must be finished.
I wish I could help, but arcs were Isla's expertise, not mine. Still, I agree. That arc allowed you to pass safely through the tangles, where Surgeborn go to regenerate. If you're going to try to fix it, consider me heavily invested in your progress.
It's too great an advantage to ignore. I'll keep you updated. Is there anything else you can tell me about the Ark of Verdance?
Please. I've had enough. Just leave me be.
Fine. I understand.
My light. I remember the day you were born, vividly. When I held you, my heart was so full it threatened to break. And I know your mother felt the same way. For all her flaws, she would be so proud of you. I am so proud of you.
You performed the Rite of Ashes beautifully, Brynn.
Glad to hear it. Not being part of the church myself, I felt a little out of place.
I'm sure Isla is at peace.
The rite I read mentioned shrouding the spindle in an eternal warmth. Is that in reference to an afterlife?
Yes, Although the Reformed sect do believe in an afterlife, it is featured more prominently in Orthodox Hallowpire beliefs. The idea being that the Great Fire is an ethereal, divine being which cannot be fully comprehended in this life, and who waits for its followers beyond this lifetime.
The Eye asked me to collect the ashes from the altar on his behalf. What does he intend to do with them?
It depends on the sect. But often the ashes from the ritual are interred with the body in a burial site. Other times, if it's a prominent family, which the Stanilds seem to be, the ashes are housed in a family mausoleum. Tragic, of course, that a father must do this for his child instead of the other way around.
A religion founded on fire seems like a natural draw for weavers. Was that your experience in Renland?
Hardly. In Renland, magic was ostracized. And there, it was viewed as unnatural corruption of fire. Pure ignorance. That's why I've turned my back on it for many years. But you're right, that the Stanild family's religious beliefs are notable. The prominence of the church in Upper Denevron suggests the weavers here held it in high regard.
I appreciate your perspective on it, but I'd better let you get back to work.
Before you go, thank you for laying her to rest. You could have just paid your respects and left, but it was the right thing to do.
Dom, the interference I'm experiencing during expeditions is concerning. Is there any chance our scry is degrading like the ones belonging to the Enclave?
No. I'm positive this is something else entirely. Our scry remains unchanged. We have the means to test for degradation, and there is none. I'll need to investigate further.
As long as it doesn't give out on us completely in the meantime.
However, I have taken a look at the Spindle's copy of the workings of Archons, and thankfully, the writing is far more legible than Lucia's. And her notes are significantly less paranoid at that.
About that, Kenrick Stanild told me that Lucia wasn't just tinkering with the Ark we followed through the Veil. She built it. The Ark of Verdance.
That is quite the revelation. What was it for?
That was all Kenrick could tell me. Or wanted to tell me. But Sev mentioned that Kenrick had been feeding Isla information about a failsafe for the source. Could the Ark of Verdance be the fix she was working on without realizing it?
Yes. Yes! That could be it. Genius, Brynn. On my side, I dug into her notes. She was working on a way to fully restore our Ark for us. She was so close to a schematic, intricate, elaborate, masterful. And I finished it. Sola has the final design ready for you. Essentially, we'll be creating a power core for the Ark. Most notably, we'll need a special part, a bar of shaped coral. This is the final key for an Ark to be functional on its own without a weaver channeling magic into it.
If we had built a power core earlier, could her death have been prevented?
She only made this discovery in the final days of her life, researching all the Ark parts we had supplied her. Her research even theorizes that using one's own magic to power an Ark for brief amounts of time could result in death.
So she knew she was going to die at the Grand Gate?
She knew exactly what would happen, and did it anyway. That's courage.
We can't let it be in vain. So, then the Ark of Verdance is our failsafe. Your design will get it running. Where can I find the shaped coral?
She suspected it was kept in the Archon's hearth, stored near natural coral deposits for its regenerative properties.
Oh, Brynn. Hi.
Were you crying? Are you okay?
Yes. The rite of ashes just got to me, that's all. The spindle and the axle only had such a brief time together.
It's awful. I can't imagine how she's feeling right now.
So much in life can be fleeting. It just makes you appreciate what a gift the time you have with someone is.
Have you ever felt like you couldn't trust the people around you?
A few times. But I try my hardest to rebuild that trust when it crumbles. Some people haven't shown they deserve that effort, so they don't get it. Is there something that's putting you on edge?
It's Sev, and how he was collaborating with the Eye behind our backs.
Oh? I can understand, but you didn't exactly seem blown away by the revelation.
I didn't have time to process it. I have now, and the more I think about it, the more upset I feel. Logically, I understand the situation. I can trace the weave of circumstance that forced his hand and led to his deception. I know he had no choice, and I've even forgiven him. I said the words to his face, so why am I still so angry?
That's a tough one.
It reminded me again of Udea. Will the fear and the manipulation follow me forever? Will it taint everything? The secrets, the lies, the subterfuge. The Maida may seem a balmy paradise, but in reality, it is a toxic swamp. Every fiber of my being is screaming at the prospect of having my life ruined by this again.
All right. It's clear that sitting around base camp chewing on this isn't doing you any good. You need a distraction.
Possibly. What did you have in mind?
The Axel must be overwhelmed right now. Let's find something to help her with.
I'm amenable to this. Shall I let you ask her, or...?
Oh, no. You're coming with me.
I suppose it'd be good to catch up with her, and I'll meet you at Cassidan's Hold, then. See you soon.
Brynn. And Lane? To what do I owe the pleasure?
We're hoping that there's something you can help us with. Or rather, we're hoping that there's something we can help you with.
I'm not sure I follow.
I've been at a loose end, gnawing on painful thoughts, only growing more despondent in the process.
Huh.
So we're here to focus on problems that are a little more tangible. What can we help you with?
That is very kind of you. I've had a great deal of difficulty keeping on top of things.
I'm sorry for your loss.
Thank you.
We're here to help. Like I said.
Right. I've got a petition from the scouts here somewhere. Let me find it. Arakim has been nagging me about accessing the Archon's Hearth. Its stores of raw material could busy our forge masters for months. Now that I'm technically in charge, I'm loath to follow Kenrick's lead in recklessly sending the scouts into dangerous situations. What I'm lacking to make that call is intelligence on the Archon's Hearth. Our documentation is decades out of date.
I've already spent a lot of time in there, actually. It was pretty hot, from what I recall.
Dangerous too, one would assume. Can you elaborate on what you saw in there?
While exploring where the arcs were assembled, I couldn't help but imagine how busy it must have been back before the surge. Archons seem big when I'm fighting them, but the scale feels totally different when they're attached to a scaffold.
Fascinating.
Well, it was only one area that was particularly hot, but all of it was dangerous.
I assume you refer to the arcane foundry then?
Yeah. It was on another level to what you've got here at the hold, or what we have at camp. I can't imagine how many Archon parts they produced per day. The most interesting part was where they grew the coral. I could feel the magic running through it.
It is a reminder that there are still lost secrets to be found.
Exactly. Anyway, there's lots going on in there. Do you think it's safe enough to send in the scouts?
Not quite. I still have grave concerns about the fluctuating heat levels.
I believe I may have a solution for that. A potion that will maintain your body temperature even in the hottest conditions. I don't quite have the equipment to make it yet, but the knowledge is there.
That's wonderful news. That said, I would like a demonstration to be sure they work.
A fair stipulation. Some sort of combat encounter in the Archon's hearth under the hottest possible conditions. Fighting an Archon that relies on fire magic would be ideal to demonstrate the potion's efficacy.
You know I'm always up for a challenge.
I have no doubt in your abilities after what I've witnessed you achieve.
Well then, I'll be back once I've felled a mighty construct.
The rite of ashes you performed for Kenrick's daughter was quite a display. I almost shed a tear.
How do you know about that?
I have eyes everywhere.
You're watching me through the other Surgeborn.
There are no other Surgeborn. We are one and the same.
Almost like the way bees work together in a hive?
If that makes it simple for you, close enough. Anyway, pity you couldn't save her. Is that why you dropped everything to perform a funeral rite for someone you barely know?
She was a friend, and you murdered her. Don't expect to survive long enough to kill someone else I care about.
Technically, I did not kill her. Her limitations are what destroyed her in the end. Funny how magic often provokes overreaching in your kind.
What are you talking about?
Oh, it doesn't matter.
The Archon's hearth once more. Wish Isla was here to guide me.
I could assist in her absence.
What the?
Brynn, what's...
Aurea, the scry has been compromised by the Surgeborn. Stay off it.
Compromised is such a strong word. I just want to talk.
See those massive pipes running along the roof? Norian design. I recognized them earlier, and they prompted my investigation into the Norians and the Enclave.
I could see why Stanhill chose you as his lackey. You have a clever thought beneath all that matted fur.
I'm pulling you. Brace for it.
Okay, let's take that again. I'm sorry. I needed a moment to step back and refocus after going off about Stanild. I think, okay now.
I'm impressed. Not everyone can pull themselves out of that kind of anger.
A hard-won skill. When I first made head of the Scouts, Stanild did everything he could to undercut me. His favorite trick was poking and prodding until I lost my cool. Always worked.
You've seemed pretty together around him when I've been there.
Yeah. I started practicing Valanshir.
What's that?
The intersection between meditation, bare-hand combat, and breathing exercises. There's a complete series of whole-body motions, painfully slow, moving from pose to pose while controlling your breathing. But at the end, just before you reach the final pose, you explode into the final position, usually exhaling hard like, ha!
And that helps.
Oh yeah. It's a solid workout controlling your motions, but the real struggle is the mental focus, which can be exhausting, but after a few months of practice, it's like being able to slide into that calm headspace on command. Few deep breaths and Stanild can't touch me. Well, except when he puts my people in danger with his ego.
My mum used to say I could use some impulse control. Maybe I should get some lessons from you. And again, I'm truly sorry to hear about the losses. We'll make their sacrifices meaningful.
Yes, we will. Whatever it takes. Hard to believe I have a title now.
The Axel seemed certain you were ready for it.
Hirune's also a politician. She knows this somewhat buys my loyalty to her if she tries to become the next Eye.
Do you think this will drastically change how you interact with the other scouts?
In time, I imagine so. We've been without an advocate for so long, and right now's the best time for me to push. I do have some promising candidates to take over day-to-day operations. I suppose we'll have to accelerate that process.
Takes multiple people to replace you,
You got me. Yes, I was bragging. I think it's critical we have some checks to make sure the system's working. If one group is over or underperforming, I can try to work with them to figure out why. Wins, listen to me. Just chain me to a desk already. All I do is stare at scrolls and move abacus beads now.
Would you support her then?
Hirune's a practical lady. She knows the scouts are critical to our ongoing survival. Farming and fishing around Cassidans keeps us fed, but rare materials for alchemy, medicines, enchanting and so on, all us.
Which gives you some leverage.
It does. But also my title is precarious, as she granted it as acting Eye. No one's going to challenge her, not right now. But implicitly, if she goes, I go with her.
Job 1 will be dealing with the source, right? You feeling up to it?
If it were all on me, I'd be overwhelmed. But I've got your band. An exceptional group with an exceptional point. But you tell me, am I ready?
I'm with the Axel. It's going to be a change, though.
A shift in the winds, for sure.
Still, look at how you interact with the band here, now. Arranging tasks, working with them. I think you feel more comfortable here.
I do. Your group is inspiring. Everyone's pulling in the same direction. I doubt I can capture that particular magic with all the politics around the hold, but maybe I can match it with the scouts.
I'm excited to see how it goes, Khan Katabi.
I hope I live up to your and everyone's expectations.
You will.
Brynn, have I ever told you you're a genuinely impressive person?
Thanks. What brought that on?
Oria told me the story about you joining the band. Sounds like your last one was awful, but you stuck with it.
In comparison, joining Oria's group was like that first nice day after a brutal winter.
That's probably more relatable if I grew up in a mountain pass, huh?
No feeling like it. Temperatures that would have felt awful in autumn feel like a summer's day. And there's this endless, soft, watery trickle of everything melting.
Sounds incredible. Think you'll go back?
I have to. My mum and I did not part on the best terms. And while we've made up in letters, I owe her the biggest hug. And I want my dad to see how far I've come. Don't think he expected me to take up the sword, but he's always been supportive.
Maybe I could tag along. I feel like I've been denied something being literally stuck in here.
Deal. I might have to take leave from the band to do it, and travel's always safer with two. And while it's not always better with two, I feel like you and I could have a great time on the road together.
We could get up to hijinks. Maybe even shenanigans.
Now we have to do it. You look thoughtful.
I've had something on my mind, actually. You have a moment to talk somewhere quieter?
Of course. Your lead. It's nice to have a moment alone.
I admire your band very much, but do enjoy that my room in the hold offers some privacy and a door I can close.
Not a lot of doors around here, that's true.
Sometimes I just need to close out the world and think.
Speaking of, what's on your mind right now?
You, to a distracting amount. The way you move smoothly through life. How direct and certain you are.
I just try to meet people where they are.
That's also how you move when you fight. It's got an elegance. It's got strength. It's exceptional. Somehow, despite the chaos all around us, I can't stop thinking about you. I find your travels intriguing. I want to learn more about the rest of the Maida. Not from you, but with you. And in turn, I want to show you the night, like I see it. Maybe I'm being optimistic. Maybe we're just friends. And that's okay too, but I like you. A lot. I'm afraid to risk the friendship, but I need to take a chance that there could be an us.
What's the one thing we most have in common, Eric?
We are thrill seekers?
Risk takers.
Then we're doing this.
If we're both feeling it, we'd be fools to let circumstance get in the way. And neither of us are fools. So yeah, we're doing this.
Feels like I've been waiting to hear that since I met you.
Just kiss me.
I'm gonna risk bringing up the fact that we met because I was running surveillance on you by telling you that my first report was that the band's point seems tireless. As it turns out, I did not know the half of it.
You hold your own pretty well, too. For a guy stuck behind a scry half the time.
Not by choice.
How did you make Head Scout, anyway? You don't seem the type. Not that you're bad at it, just... inclination.
Not something I like to talk about much. Messy business. But I can tell you. My predecessor was involved in some kind of mission gone wrong, where most of his team were badly wounded. He was given a discharge, and I was as close to a successor as he had.
If you were his protege, why weren't you there with him?
He was explicitly told to keep me out of it. I think it was so I wouldn't know what happened. That will make sense when the story's done.
Weren't people watching the scry to pull them out?
It was deemed so secret, only one person could be trusted with the scry. I'm sure you can guess whom. The Eye at the time. Stanild.
What happened to everyone on the mission?
Most discharged with honors. Went back to civilian life around the hold. They wouldn't talk about what happened, but all were provided for. That part, at least, was noble.
What were they doing that was so dangerous?
No one knew for years, and they wouldn't say. Especially the former head of the Scouts, who landed a cushy place high up the valley. But I went digging after Stanild's removal. Lots of secrets suddenly open if you're friends with the Axel and ask the right questions. And that mission had always sat odd with me. Sure enough, it was to capture a Surgeborn.
The Talon, then.
Yes. Under Stanild's direct order and supervision. He's good at overseeing disasters. Also, he could question it, form what he thought was a plan, and look like a hero. I'm more upset about that than I realized. Felt good to get it out to someone I can trust.
Not just trust, I hope.
Oh, much, much more than that. Speaking of, catch you later? If you're not too tired.
You know me. Tireless.
Hey you. How's my favorite point doing?
Really well, like always. Thought I'd see how you were holding up.
Still reeling a little from the attack, but getting my feet back under me. Forces me to be up all day more often than I should. I should talk to Dharm about that, actually.
Dharm uses some kind of sleep aid. Lane could help you with that.
Oh, are they the secret weapon? I wondered how Dharm does it. I can stay up past noon regularly, but I wear down if I do it too much.
To be fair, I think that's just Dharm. Fueled by his love of enchantment and solar in equal measure. You should talk to Lane. I'd miss you if you were sleeping all day. I think Dharm splits his sleep so he can be up with Solar. And she does something similar. They make it work.
It's not like you have the most regular sleeping schedule yourself.
Are you saying you'd like to stay up to spend time with me too?
Yeah, I am. Ooh, you were really moving out there.
I was told time was of the essence.
Yeah, but you made it look easy. Maybe someday you could give classes to the novice scouts.
I'd be delighted. But I need permission to be a total hard-ass. That work?
Wins, yes. Ooh, we'll introduce you as Coach Brynn and you can wear like really tight pants.
You'd like that, wouldn't you?
I swear.
It's okay, Eric. I'm just teasing. But if you get afloat opportunities to make you blush, I have to go for it. And more to the point, I'm game. We'll tackle it when the dust is all settled.
Remember when we were talking about the Eye mobilizing? You said he's doing what we wanted, right?
I did. In retrospect, maybe a bad call.
No, it wasn't. We were playing a game, applying pressure. He responded. Poorly, of course. And even though it went terribly, we get to pick up the pieces now. Not some incompetent bureaucrat. All this time, the spindle was sneaking out of Cassidy's hold. And I had no idea.
Sounds like you two had more in common than you realized.
Just reminds me that you've got to tell people how you feel when you get the chance.
Was there something you wish you had told the spindle?
Just how much I appreciated her level head and expertise. And that we all knew her father wasn't why she was the spindle.
So, Arakim, then.
I'll have you know that he's got a wonderful personality.
I'm sure the toned physique and raw athleticism don't hurt his case either.
Maybe.
Well, you know, make sure to stay hydrated and all that.
Aw, look at you. Keeping our best interests at heart.
I do my best.
Arakim? Really?
What's the matter? You don't approve?
He's just a total bro. I wouldn't have pegged that as your type.
He's got those dreamy eyes, though.
Ugh. Go be cute somewhere else. But I'm happy for you.
Is my region, after all.
Like I would tell you.
Whatever plan you've concocted, it would be better if we worked together.
You murdered my friend.
Technically, I didn't touch her. It isn't my fault she lacked the stamina to follow through on what she started.
great and small objects alike to reach wherever they were needed across the Enclave.
Whatever you're planning to do with that is nothing compared to what we could accomplish if we put our minds together.
I can manage well enough on my own.
You can do so much more.
Surgeborn in the Howling Jail somehow has access to the scry.
We know. I can feel it in there with me. It's not pleasant. We need to do something fast.
The good news is, as far as we can tell, it only has access when you're in the underworks. At most, it seems to cause interference when you're above ground. We don't think it can listen in.
Until we can block its presence, best to keep use of the scry to a minimum.
Aurea, I could feel the Surgeborn too. I know exactly what you mean.
Doesn't feel great.
The kind of nausea that only comes from the wind being knocked out of you.
It takes a lot out of me to stay connected to you when it's present, let alone speak.
That must be why there's interference.
What you're both describing, it makes me wonder if the Eye was under a deeper influence from the Surgeborn than we realized.
How so?
We assumed he was merely manipulated into a foolhardy plan, but what if the Surgeborn had some sort of effect on his mind?
I could believe it. But if that's the case, then we need to limit Brynn's exposure to it through the scry. Fast.
And yours.
I don't think it's me the Surgeborn wants to influence. From the sounds of it, it wants you.
Weavers need a physical connection to the scry to communicate, either by wearing the earpiece or touching the scroll. The Surgeborn doesn't have either. So how is it connecting to our scry?
Well, let's start with what we know. The imprisoned Talon was able to convince Stanild to open the gate. But the Herald was there and waiting. It was not surprised at all, despite the scout's distractions. Ergo, the Herald and Talon were communicating somehow, yet the Talon had been imprisoned for years. Would it not be reasonable to suggest the Surgeborn can communicate with one another using something like our scry? Or worse, perhaps they can share thoughts needing no magic at all.
A single shared consciousness.
The implications are frankly staggering, but it is the only explanation I can think of for what we've observed. And if I'm correct, it's not such a leap to imagine creatures like this, or perhaps a creature, would be capable of infiltrating our scry.
Let's hear it. How bad is all this?
The scry is a complex piece of Weaver enchantment. That this Surgeborn has broken in is not good.
We still don't know exactly what it wants, but if it continues to infiltrate our constructs, this could mean an all-out war.
War?
Imagine they gain control of the Enclave's arcs. Sure, they're dangerous now, but with a sentient strategist behind them, they could storm the Maida in a couple of hundred strides.
You think the Surgeborn's interests expand beyond the Enclave?
With an enemy as calculated as this, best to assume the worst.
All right. How are we going to fix this?
The reason Aurea can sense the Surgeborn presence on the scry is likely because it's wielding magic to communicate. The same way Aurea's mantle pulls magic from the air to contact you. However, unlike Aurea, the Surgeborn can't pull magic from the air around it. Otherwise, it would be talking to you all the time.
But it can only reach me when I'm underground.
Where the tangles are most dense. We need to cut off its access to raw magic.
That's where the spindle comes in. Thanks to her, we finally have the missing piece to get our escort here running.
It was a failsafe in the case that the source needed to be repaired. The Arc of Verdance will create a safe bubble against the tangles, which would be the natural consequence of any failure of the source.
Just like it did with the Veil.
Exactly. But without the crushing weight that caused it to fail.
So, the plan. We get the Arc to the source, it stabilizes the Enclave.
Or at the very least, starts the process.
If the Herald waiting down there doesn't destroy it first, I'll need to take it down. If this plan is going to work.
That sounds dangerous.
It might be a risk worth taking.
We have to. The Enclave is overflowing with raw magic, and this source is clearly the root of the problem. Too many tangles have led to the floods. They allow the Surgeborn to communicate and infect our enchantments. Without the source under control, we will never reclaim the Enclave.
Then that's our plan. We build a power core, then we speak to the Axle.
I'll join you at Cassidon's Hold.